One of the most secretive game companies of all time, yet hardly has any massive failures, is also the same studio that can't count to 3, at least until recently. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Valve. Now, have you ever wondered how much work gets put into your favorite Valve titles? If that's Half-Life, Counter-Strike, TF2, or maybe something as recent as Deadlock. Fans of Valve titles throughout the years that have felt abandoned by the developer, that being Valve, have had the lifelong question if player numbers and monetization motivate devs to push out more content for such title, or rather the opposite. An example is Counter-Strike 2. Right now, yes, it's very buggy. It also hasn't seen any major additions within the last year, let alone half or more of all the content from CSGO and other Counter-Strike titles. Yet with the skins market and player count booming, it's considered to be successful in Valve's eyes. So does that then lead Valve devs to feel more safe to move on to a new project since the one prior is quote-unquote successful and complete, at least from their perspective? Now, a quick answer to that, in my opinion, is yes. With a multi-billion-dollar game company, and as of recently, just software, what's their secret to releasing success after success? You'd think with how popular their games are, with how much income they bring in, that they'd have a pretty extensive dev team. But it seems in light of recent information, that couldn't be further from the truth. Today's video is a commentary and deep dive behind the scenes of how your favorite Valve titles are made, and the lifelong question from Valve fans if that adds up to the amount of content that we receive in games such as Counter-Strike, and just as of recently with Valve's new acquisition of a new dev team, what that could mean for future projects. We're gonna discuss all that alongside a bunch more. Now, today's video sponsor is SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a buying but most notably trading marketplace for all your Counter-Strike needs. SkinsMonkey offers a wide variety of skins. Once you find the item you want, hit trade for either items you currently have or for one of many deposit options. You can use my code MANDO for up to a free $5 alongside a 35% deposit bonus, and with their large selection of skins, SkinsMonkey also offers daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, the link will be in the description down below. Now, it's been stated in the past through leaks as well as the GDC conference in 2014 or 15, I believe, that there was only around 5 to 12 devs working on Counter-Strike at any given time. But that was back then when CSGO only had a few thousand players, and you'd think in the year 2024, with CS bringing in millions, billions a year, that would change, right? Well, the answer to that is no. Now, like we just mentioned, you'd think with a game that rakes in $70 million a month for a quote-unquote dead game and also bad month, that more people at Valve would be inclined to work on the new and current projects, that being in Counter-Strike 2, like fixing game-breaking bugs, getting to the root of the main problems such as subtick and optimization, or maybe even adding new content. And you're actually semi-right for the most part. But if Valve sees evergreen titles such as CS as if it ain't broke, then why would you fix it? But dating back a couple of months, we can see the first real data of how many devs actually worked at Valve based off of a lawsuit from 2021, where it was quoted that Valve had 360 employees in 2016, 330 in 2013, and as of right now in 2024, almost a decade later, it's hard to tell how many there actually are. But because of that jump in 2013 to 2016, where it's 30 extra employees, and with how much more money Valve makes, but also releases with titles, software, and even consoles nowadays with the Steam Deck, you'd assume that there'd be a lot more, which I think for the most part is probably correct. And before we go any further, I feel like I have to mention that Valve is like the Harvard of video games. They only hire the best, they only want the best, they want the developers that can multitask and do multiple different things at once and do their job the best compared to any other person. But because of the lack of developers, but also people who work on certain titles, does this also explain the lack of content for games such as CS or TF2? Now, just to put this in a broader perspective, we're going to compare Valve to Microsoft, where across all Microsoft studios for the games they own, they have a little over 20,000 employees, yet Valve with anywhere from 300 to 400 still comes out on top. Now, yes, they don't release as many consoles, they don't release as many games, but when Valve does release something, it's usually always a hit. Now, on top of Valve only wanting to hire the best from the best game companies, that leads us now to quickly mention that devs are also allowed to work on what they want when they want at Valve, which also means they're not required to work on something for a certain period of time. I'm assuming unless it's before release, such as Deadlock or CS2. Now, based off of the inside scoop from Valve devs after a game goes gold, they're essentially allowed to work on whatever else they want. Now, does this explain the lack of content in a game such as Counter-Strike 2, let alone the forgotten maps, modes, and features from the franchise predecessor? In a way, yes, but it still doesn't make it easy to swallow that pill nor really understand the situation. Now, speaking of Counter-Strike 2, it's very hard to have players understand with how broken the game is with the full release making billions of dollars a year. Meanwhile, titles like Deadlock are currently in an alpha, it's already being optimized with major bug fixes, and a promised anti-cheat is already on the way. Now, a little quick disclaimer for Deadlock. Deadlock is a brand new IP, it's a brand new title. They're gonna have to polish it up in order for it to be popular, because if it's not, people are just gonna push it aside. Now, in recent leaks and articles, Valve have just hired new devs from the Risk of Rain development team, and apparently it's only the best. Now, Valve hired quote-unquote the key devs, meaning not the entire dev team, which sounds about right since Valve only hires the best, but also what do they need them for? Not to complain that Valve doesn't need any more devs, because I agree they do, but most fans based off of leaks have begun to speculate for what they're working on, because the only reason they were hired was to work on an unannounced project. But based off of recent leaks, data mines, and rumors, it's all suggesting Half-Life 3, or a Half-Life Alyx type of game that's non-VR. Now, originally it was leaked that we'd get another continuation or a game very similar to Half-Life Alyx, and it would be in VR. But somewhere along the line, Valve changed their mind to have a non-VR Half-Life title, which as of right now, based off of leaks, it seems to be Half-Life 3. Now let me know what you guys think down below. Did you like this style of video? Did you learn anything new about Valve? And do you think Valve should break tradition and risk a sloppy addition of content for its games, such as Counter-Strike 2, for hiring brand new devs and more devs on top of that, or should they just keep what isn't broken here? With that all being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, stay sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.